Pardon me, Con. Thank you for 500 biddies. Um, One thing that I do want to mention is that, when we do these types of streams, especially those that are like involve social justice and stuff like that, I do always, of course, appreciate the turnout. I do ask that if you're coming here for my educative streams, to help me would be to also come for my fun streams. Trauma, education, things like that are very important, of course, and they're things that I love to do. But I also love just hanging out and not having to worry about systemic inequity and oppression all the time. So, if you're enjoying these streams where I'm doing these types of educative things and I'm taking care of, like, you know, answering your questions and stuff like that, I ask that you also treat me as a human being, and that this is not something that you expect, and that you come, if you enjoy these streams, then you will likely enjoy my other streams too. It's not to say you have to come or anything like that, but I would just really appreciate it. It means a lot to me when people come, more than when I'm talking about systemic injustice. That is not all I am, and I've studied it since I was 7 years old. My dad was very big on, you know, I have to talk about these things. Oh, thank you, Mira Featherbender, for the follow. Thank you, Casual Cryptid. Oh, it's Cecilia's birthday, by the way, everyone. But yeah, thank you for stopping by from Cecilia's community. I've studied systemic oppression, specifically racism, since I was 7 years old. Cuddle Guts! Hello, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. I've studied these things for a very long time, and it's become a big part of who I am as a person. Thank you, Brianna. It's become a big part of who I am as a person. But that doesn't mean that that's all I am as a person. I'm more than just an educator. I am a full human being with feelings and emotions, and sometimes I don't want to talk about systemic injustice. So don't come here, expecting that from me, because I do it when I want to. Although being paid for it is a plus. Thank you, thank you. Hello, the Amber. So we're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and get started with the actual topic at hand. Today's stream is about how you as a streamer can contribute to diversity on Twitch. The context in which this conversation is being held is that as of late, a lot of new stream teams have been developed. A lot of long-standing stream teams are continuing to grow. Thank you so much, the Amber, for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Brianna. I really appreciate that. The context of this stream is that a lot of stream teams have been developed, and over time people have started to notice that a lot of these teams do tend to center whiteness, and there's certain aspects of diversity that people fail to really capture. Most of the time it is, racial, ethnic diversity, but it also extends to other forms of diversity, like, able-bodiedness, neurodiversity, LGBTQ plus representation. Those types of things are also often missed. Today we are specifically talking about racial and ethnic diversity. If people would like, we can host another space that talks more about able-bodiedness. We can host a space that talks about LGBTQ plus representation and what that means and how to commit to diversity from that standpoint. But today is specifically about racial and ethnic diversity. Now, if you don't know, I did found a team recently called the Disabled Content Creators Collective. I found that many members and streams. Welcome in, Mr. Jackson. A lot of stream teams were not really representative, and I found it really hard myself to navigate Twitch, knowing that people were DMing me like, hey, you should apply for the stream team because you're neurodivergent. Hey, you should apply for the stream team because, you know, you're LGBTQ plus and all of this stuff. And I go and check out the stream team, and the overwhelming majority was white. And what did that feel like to me? It felt like people were centering their whiteness in LGBT, or centering their marginalized identities, for instance, being LGBTQIA+, being disabled, you know, being neurodiverse, all of these different things. They were centering that without recognizing how their whiteness impacted their experiences. Hello, Semi-Precious Jules. And that sucked for me, right? That really sucked. Hey, Taro, welcome in, bestie. That really sucked for me, and that was very difficult for me to deal with. And it started to get to the point where I was actually kind of starting to get depressed. Like, will I ever find, hey Kami, will I ever find a space that is inclusive of me as a black person with these identities? And so I started to really think about what intersectionality looks like in this space, and how I feel, and how I can help commit to that in a more forward way. And that was when I established the Disabled Content Creators Collective. We throw around words like, or phrases like BIPOC and BIMPOC, which stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color, and then Black and Indigenous and Middle Eastern and People of Color. So these things have very specific implications, right? If you are using the label BIPOC, BIMPOC, there is a very specific connotation and a very specific expectation that you will highlight the unique racial and ethnic experiences of the people outside of the POC group. So if it's BIPOC, you are highlighting the Black and Indigenous experiences. If it's BIMPOC, you are highlighting the Black and Indigenous and Middle Eastern experiences. And that you cannot use, oh, thank you, Aikawi Princess, for the $10. You cannot in good conscience, hey Tiana, you cannot in good conscience use terms and labels like BIPOC and BIMPOC without consideration for what that means and the implications of those terms. And so I found that a lot of people were using these terms and were labeling their stream team. Oh, thank you, B, for the gift of sub to Tiana. I swear you were following. So it must, I know sometimes it makes people unfollow me. Thank you. Is it Zephy? Is it Zephy? I hope I'm saying that correctly. Thank you for the follow. But yeah, I found that people were using, oh, Tatiana, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Is today your birthday? I was lurking before I started stream. Oh, thank you, Tatiana, for the 2 months, or so for the 6 months, I'm sorry, for the 6 months. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Semi-Precious Jules, for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate it. Well, happy belated birthday. I hope your stream went well. Thank you, Kami, for the prime sub. Y'all about to get me started, alright? Y'all about to get me started. Please. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thanks, Internet, for the tier 1 sub. If you are new here, my name is Chi-Chi. I'm a cozy variety streamer, but I also do social justice advocacy work. I'm also a part-time psychotherapist, so we do a lot of mental health, social justice work, and we play cozy games over here. My special talent is that I know how to make any game cozy. I play Fortnite and Dead by Daylight and other like non-cozy games, but manage to make them cozy. Thank you, Mira, for the $6. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so if you like to stick around, feel free. Today we are talking about how to commit to diversity as a streamer, in the context of racial and ethnic diversity in stream teams. So that's what we're talking about today. If you want to stick around, feel free. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A channel points redemption. That will allow me to see it when I pull up my moderator view. I'll be able to answer your questions in order as I receive them. So yeah. Outside of like raids and stuff, I'm not gonna really be doing shout outs just because I wanna, if my mods want to do shoutouts, that's fine. I won't be asking for shoutouts and stuff because I'm gonna focus on the content today. Um, but yeah, so it's kind of circling back to my point. I found that a lot of teams were not diverse, that they were using the BIPOC, BIMPOC labels incorrectly. Thank you, Kate, for the $5. They were using those incorrectly without actual consideration for what they mean. These things are very Americanized terms. So for the most part, if you are not from America, you may not really recognize the context in which they're used. But you know, definitely ask questions if you're confused. Ask the B, the I, the M. Ask what this is supposed to mean and what it means to them. But in academia, it has very specific implications, and I wanted to start the stream by saying that. So again, the reason why I'm having this conversation is because I found that a lot of stream teams were very white, and it started to get frustrating for me because I didn't feel comfortable receiving DMs telling me to thank you. Hey, Destiny, is it Destineria? Am I saying it correctly? Thank you for the follow. Destiny Ria. I'm sorry. Destiny Ria, right? On my screen, it doesn't capitalize it, but I'm looking in chat. Oh, so like Rhea. Destiny Rhea? Oh no, Ray. Destiny Ray. Hey and Ray. Right? Yeah, I'm not good at nothing. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, so Destiny Ray. I want to make sure I'm getting the name right. Hey Spidey, I'm doing well. How are you doing? Okay. Thank you for taking the time to teach me how to pronounce it. I started to get a little frustrated with seeing so many stream teams being DM'd about stream teams that I should apply for, and they were just not representative at all. Also, I forgot to pull something up. They were not representative at all, and it started to get very hard for me. Hold on, let me answer this message real quick. Let me send something to my mods real quick. Sorry. I should have done this beforehand, but I do work, so. Mods, if y'all can check the admin chat in the server, I just sent a message there. So yeah, that's why we're having this conversation today. Again, the rules: if you do not have a capacity to decenter yourself, leave right now, because I'm letting you know if you center yourself in any capacity. Thank you so much, Spidey, for the host, and I just turned that on, so I apologize for anyone who hosted me before I turned that on. If you center yourself, I'm gonna give you one warning. And if you do it again, you're banned. Like, I'm not playing around. If you want to get unbanned, you can send me $50 and you might get unbanned. But that's not even a promise. Like, probably still won't unban you. But I'll take your money. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kami, for the host. Thank you, Zephy and B for the host. I really appreciate it. Um, so let's get started with the first question. Thank you, Key, for the host. We'll go ahead and get started with the first question. I'm not gonna, if you send me questions, I'm not gonna announce who they came from. But if you send them using the Q&A, people will see that you asked using the Q&A. So, um, yeah, if you want to still DM me, you can do that. You can also send me messages on Discord or whatever. You can whisper me as well. Thank you, Semi Precious Jules, for the host. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the first question. So the first question is, what is the best way to reach out to people who would bring diverse experience and perspective to the group? This was a question I fully intended. Thank you so much for all the hosts. I really appreciate it. This is a question I fully intended to answer, regardless of if I ever received it as a question. Um, but I think it's important to understand why this question is actually important to this conversation. One thing you never want to do is tokenize the people of color that you ask to join your team by basically telling them, I'm asking you to join my team because I don't have diversity, right? And a lot of times, what happens is the reason why many teams lack diversity and lack diverse applications is less because of the founders of the team and more because of the founding members as a whole. A lot of y'all who establish these stream teams are, the founder tends to be white, the co-founder tends to be white, and then most of the founding members tend to be white. And that means that a lot of people of color are not going to be comfortable applying to your team. So if you're looking to increase diversity, it's definitely going to start with your founding members, right? If you have a representative founding member set, then more people of color will feel represented and therefore apply. So for all the people who are constantly saying we didn't have a whole lot of people of color apply, I really want you to do some introspective work and consider why that is. If you and your co-founder or founding members are majority white, that is probably why. If you are not and have not ever said that you are committed to diversity in any context, that is probably why. So it begins with introspection. Thank you, Show Sheepy, for the follow. I really appreciate it. So it starts there. Now, in increasing diversity in your founding members and reaching out to people, it's always important to consider the context in which you are reaching out. Again, if you are reaching out because you want to fill numbers, not okay. And that's wrong. But if you are reaching out because you want to have representation, there is nothing wrong with being clear and saying, we want to ensure that this team is representative in in many ways. So like if you're inviting someone because you want to have BIPOC representation, we believe that BIPOC representation for our stream team is important. We are reaching out to you because we think that you would be a great fit for our team. And that's it. Some people maybe might feel tokenized in some way, and if they do, then that's a conversation that you should be willing to have, and understanding why they feel tokenized and working to shift your language so they don't feel tokenized going forward. But for the most part, I found that this is the best way to do it. I did it myself for my stream team and it worked out very well. No one felt tokenized and no one felt like I was just trying to add numbers. That might be also because I am a person of color, so they recognize that that's probably not something I would do. But again, that goes back to representation. If you and your co-founder are both white, chances are a lot of people are not going to feel comfortable with that kind of conversation. And That's just something you're gonna have to learn to navigate. If anyone has specific questions, like a specific circumstance in which that's happened to you and you feel comfortable sharing, I would love to know and maybe be able to provide some insight from my perspective as to why that might be. But yeah. That's not actually the purpose of today. Shadow is here. Um, if you would like to do that another time, then that's fine. But today's conversation is very specific. The context is the what the title says. How can you commit to diversity as a streamer? So if it has to do with that, that's fine. You can whisper me. But outside of that, I ask that you hold that for another day. Um, the person who asked that question is going to be watching the VOD, so I don't know if that's enough. Hopefully, they're able to tell me that that was enough. Um, the person who sent me that question also asked how can they kind of learn to decipher why they are committed to diversity. And I think that that's not a question I can answer, but it's a question I really would like for all uh, white people, especially, to ask themselves when doing a diverse stream team, when creating a diverse stream team or trying to increase diversity in your stream team. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you want the points to be able to say I have a diverse stream team and I'm white and I have POC on my stream team? Because if you're doing it for that reasons, it might be important to consider that you're wrong. Um, so that's one. Two, if you're not secure in seeking out diversity in your stream team, if you don't understand that why you're doing it and understand uh if you don't understand and you're not secure in why you want a diverse stream team, you are going to be challenged, and if you're not stable enough in that, you are going to tumble. You are going to be challenged by people of color who question you, and you need to be open to being questioned about why do you want a diverse stream team, especially if you do not have diverse founding members and then you suddenly start to decide I want to commit to diversity in my members. Why do you not have diverse representation in your founding members? Why is it that what's ultimately an administrative team is all white or majority white? And people are going to question that, so you have to be ready to answer those questions. And again, you have to be very secure in what you're doing and understand that people are going to ask you, why are you suddenly committing to a diversity in your stream team? Thank you, Cat Rocks, for the follow. I appreciate it. Hey, Farah. Hey, Azalea. Again, if anyone has any questions, please use the Q&A function. It's 50 points, so people should be able to ask questions. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything else. Maybe it's important to just in general talk about why it's important to have a diverse stream team. I kind of mentioned it, but a lot of people tend to center their marginalized identities and never ever discuss their privileged identities. Thank you, Farah, for the $20. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Um, there is a way to there is a way to really commit to diversity. And one of the things that I recommend every single person do, regardless of how marginalized you say you are, is really focus on both your privileged identities and your marginalized identities. For instance, me as a person, I am privileged in many ways. I am privileged in that English is my first language, and by privilege I mean the context of America. I am privileged in that English is my first language, in that I do not have an accent, in that I am a light-skinned black person, in that I have an invisible disability, and that I can pass as cis whenever I want. And those are, I'm also, privileged financially. I'm privileged in having a institutional and standardized education that is respected in a lot of different ways. There are so many different privileges I have, right? But I'm also marginalized in that I'm a black person. Um, I'm disabled, I'm transgender, I'm non binary, I'm queer. Those are my marginalizations. Having the capacity to recognize my privileged identities means that I can highlight other people who are more marginalized than me. In recognizing that I am a light-skinned person, I can assist people who are darker skinned because they are more marginalized than me, and I can speak up on the issues that they face in a way that's less threatening because I am a light-skinned person and I'm perceived as less threatening than a dark-skinned individual. So I would really, really, really challenge all of you to sit down at some point in time and really think about what are my marginalized identities and what are my privileged identities. And if at any point you say that I'm not privileged in any aspect, you are lying to yourself. Um, the fact that you would even have the capacity to sit here and think about marginalization versus privilege indicates that you are privileged in some way. And I'm not going to tell you the answer, I'm not going to spoon feed you, but everyone is privileged in some way. Every single person here right now is privileged. Every single person watching this right now is privileged in some fashion. And recognizing that is going to be the first step to understanding the commitment to diversity. Next is going to be understanding why it's important to commit to diversity on Twitch. Twitch is a white cis man dominated realm. What does that mean? It means that people who have, thank you Hetzy Place for the follow, people who have a proximity to that identity are more privileged on Twitch. You can say as much as you want. Actually, I can go as far to say that, it's white, cis, able bodied men, are the ones that have the most privilege on Twitch. I will say that. And there's more identities I can tack on, but for now, that's what I'm gonna say. So people who have proximity to that identity, being white, cis, a man, and able bodied, are going to have more privilege in this space. If you are a white woman, you are still white and have proximity to that identity. Therefore, you have more privilege than women of color. If you are cisgender, regardless of any of your other identities, you are going to be more privileged than a trans person with the same identities. In recognizing that, you should be able to understand why it's important to commit to diversity, because intersectionality is going to be very important in your commitment to diversity. That means that in LGBTQIA, thank you Shania Twain Stan for the $10, in LGBTQIA plus, organizations, stream teams, whatever, people who are disabled, people who are racially and ethnically minoritized are going to have less privilege in that space than you as a white person who is LGBTQIA plus. Does that make sense? Let me go ahead and read this question and make sure I didn't miss any other ones as well. How do we as a BIPOC community come together to build spaces for us versus trying to be included in spaces where we are an afterthought or merely tolerated? I am all for BIPOC only spaces, but even those spaces still need to make a heavy consideration for racial and ethnic minorities. It's something that I'm working on in my own stream team. The majority of my members are the overwhelming majority of my members are BIPOC, right? Um, there's very little indigenous representation. Like some of us are mixed indigenous, but a lot of us are not. None of us are, full indigenous or identify as full indigenous. And that represents a power imbalance. If there's an indigenous specific issue, then how can I, as a person who's mixed indigenous, assist in really highlighting that and really communicating regarding that? So even in BIPOC only spaces, there's still consideration for um, racial and ethnic equity. um, I know that doesn't answer like your full question, so I'll get to the rest of it. I am personally comfortable infiltrating spaces where I am not welcome. Spaces that consider me an afterthought, I will fully infiltrate them and I will radicalize every single person in that space to the best of my capacity. And that is something I'm comfortable doing because it's something I've done my whole entire life. That being said, Black people, BIPOC people, or BIPOC individuals do not owe you that. And if we decide that we don't want to be a part of your stream team and we want to make our own stream team that doesn't include white people, you have to recognize that that is not a privilege. That is a response to marginalization. And those are two very distinct things. If someone creates a team that is BIPOC only, that is not a privilege in itself. That is a response to being historically marginalized in your white spaces. But again, me personally, I'm just like, I don't care. I'm gonna infiltrate your space and I'm gonna rock everything. That's something I like to do. It's very fun for me to go into spaces where I'm not the standard and rock the, sorry for my cussing, but rock the shit out of all of these spaces. Um, that's what I like to do. I hope that answers your question. Um, if it doesn't, just let me know. I'm very fond of people creating spaces where um there aren't white people. And the reason for that is because a lot of times white people tend to center themselves, and I challenge any white people watching this today to learn to decenter yourself. If you choose to cultivate a space that's supposedly BIPOC or BIMPOC friendly, please decenter yourself. Please decenter yourself. And if you need advice on how that looks, this is the time to ask. Okay, take your time, Navi. And that's another thing. If anyone doesn't know who Spirit Farah is, um, Farah is a partner creator, of course, and I hope you don't mind me sharing, Farah, that you also identify as BIPOC. And I've been really grateful to Farah for kind of giving me her point of view on what it means for her to identify as BIPOC as part of the POC, as most of my experience is in the B kind of, you know, part of that acronym. So thank you to Farah for sharing her experience with me. Yeah, I can definitely explain what decentering is. So, in advocacy, a lot of times people don't know how to perform advocacy in a space that empowers the people that they're supposed to be advocating for. Uh, Savior complexes are very strong. People will kind of flex how much they know and how much they've studied on like systemic, marginalization and oppression and things like that. But decentering yourself is the capacity to listen to the people that you're supposed to be an ally to and really uplift their voice rather than tell their story from your perspective. And that's also something I would challenge people to do more often, is instead of creating your own tweets or your own posts or your own podcasts or whatever about marginalization of a group that you are not a part of, no. Decenter yourself, right? Deplatform yourself and platform the individual that you are a supposed ally to. What does decentering look like? It looks like shutting up. I'll give a specific example of what decentering means to me, because it's something I do in a lot of Black conversations, in particular being a light-skinned person. For me, to decenter myself in conversations about anti-Blackness means that I recognize that I still have privilege as a light-skinned person, and that when dark-skinned people are talking about their experiences, I shut the hell up and let them talk about their experiences. So, you know, that can mean a lot of different things in a lot of different spaces. For BIPOC spaces, that means people of color need to decenter themselves and highlight the experiences of Black and Indigenous people, because that's the point of the term. Same with BIMPOC, highlighting the BIM as opposed to, you know, us being all one people and we're all POC. Like, that's not helpful and that does nothing. Yes, and pay creators when you can. Definitely pay creators. Hey Mick, thank you so much for the 4 months. I really appreciate it. So that's what decentering yourself looks like. That's in some ways what decentering yourself would mean. Again, recognizing what the point of these terms actually is super important, because a lot of people don't recognize, like, why is the bi different than, why is the bi separate from the POC, why is the BIM separate from the POC, and just really considering intersectionality. I want to make sure that I'm like leaving room for people to ask questions, but I also don't want to, like, you know, waste people's time and having y'all here and not talking. Welcome in, Imagination. I have some more. Drink this first. I'm like covered in cat hair. One thing that I wanted to mention, and I'm sure other people maybe have thought of this as well. Yes, Blue Gatorade is top tier. One thing that I want to mention is that if you, so lately, hey C, oh no, you're good. Lately, as a person in the, thanks internet for the gifted sub to Zeffy. Yeah, so BIMPOC is not something that I use to, and I'll get back to what I was saying before. BIMPOC is not something that I use too often, but it's been really important in having conversations about, like, Islamophobia. Regardless of if this is not me saying that all people from the Middle East are Muslim, right? But if someone in America were to perceive you as a Middle Eastern person, they would recognize you as Muslim, and therefore you would experience Islamophobia, because that is what America does. America has largely simplified the experiences of Middle Eastern people, and therefore people who are Middle Eastern in any capacity are automatically assumed to be Muslim and therefore experience Islamophobia. So that's why they started to say BIMPOC, to highlight the experiences of Black, Indigenous, and Middle Eastern people in America. More countries, like you saw Farah mention Canada. When I say America, I do mean, like, I guess I shouldn't say America. I guess I should say like Western civilizations, but in a way that's not really accurate because, or I can't say that that's accurate because I don't really know about how these types of terms would be used in like the South American countries. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if America's is accurate because really anywhere below America might not. I don't know how that looks there because I study all of my stuff in the context of North America, but also like a lot of this applies to like Europe. So that's why it's like kind of wonky. Does that make sense? It's like kind of wonky to do to say. So if I say America, just understand I'm kind of talking about like any civilization that is either colonized, well, yeah, any civilization that has been colonized by the English. There we go. That is, I think that's enough. I think that's enough to kind of capture what I'm referring to and the type of research I'm referring to. Welcome in, Siren Faye. But yeah, that's why North America wouldn't really work. That might be a good term. The global north might be a really good term. Either way, y'all understand what I'm talking about. So one thing that I wanted to mention is that I would really appreciate if the people that have started to commit to diversity do external work for diversity management. And what I mean by that is that a lot of y'all, and it's not to say that you have poor intentions in doing this, I understand your intentions fully, but a lot of you who are starting to commit to diversity as a stream team have kind of, maybe unintentionally, maybe intentionally, put the POC on your team in the role and position of diversity management without any type of pay, without any type of recognition. And at the end of the day, even if you give them pay and recognition, you as the founder, you as the founding members benefit from increasing diversity on your team a lot more than the POC on your team. I'm really, really challenging y'all to do outward work, communicate with people who have put themselves directly in that position. I am one of those people who has advocated and directly put myself in the position that if you need help with diversity management for your stream team, I am more than willing to help you do that. But I'm begging y'all to please stop doing this to your members of color. Like, I'm begging y'all, because you might think, welcome in, Morphe. You might think that what you're doing is inclusive. You might think that what you're doing is beneficial, but again, either indirectly or directly, you have put a lot of the people of color on your team into a position of diversity management. And because of the power dynamic of you being a founder or you being a founding member and them being either a founding member or just a member, there's a power dynamic there that implies that they have to fulfill this role even if they don't want to. So, contact people who have explicitly stated, I am here to help with diversity management, instead of like talking to your team members. Honestly, yeah, I'm not gonna hold you, it's weird. And again, I understand your intent, and I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong in intent, but the impact is that you've placed people into that position. No, if you want to do that, that's completely different. I'm more so talking about the stream teams that have kind of said, like, to their like team, we want to commit to diversity management, there's a power imbalance there. There is a power dynamic there, and there's an imbalance there, and that means that the people of color on your team might feel, and I've had this happen, they might feel that they have to fill that role because no one else will. That's more the issue. Does that make sense? Like, if you want to fulfill that role, I would definitely recommend doing that. I think there's a lot of power in that. It can be really empowering to help your stream team become more diverse. It's just more about people asking that of their stream team without consideration for what that actually means. Hey, Bo. Hope you're doing well. Let me see. Sometimes it can feel like if I don't exactly Siren Faye. I think that not to like, I don't want to like over empathize with white members of the team, but in a way that could be comfortable for like white members as well, and that, you know, maybe they just don't know, and then now they're put into this space where they have to commit to diversity when they really just don't know. And that's also very weird. Like, so in general, I would just recommend that you, like, let's say you have people in your stream team who volunteer to take on that role. I would still really heavily recommend that you seek outside assistance in consolidating that goal and what that goal looks like for the team, because the outside, like, third party view can be really helpful in reducing the pressure that's there because of the power dynamic. Yes, imagination. I think that that's something that happens very often. Imagination says, what I've been seeing is a lot of people claiming to work to expand the visibility / acceptance of a specific group without ever consulting with people from said group. Most times it does not end well. And we kind of already addressed that, which was in saying that you need to learn to decenter yourself. So if you're watching this VOD and you're like, what the heck are you talking about? Just kind of scroll back and or rewind towards the beginning, and you'll hear where I talked about decentering yourself. You know, non-binary says, I'd love to research and look into how to help with these things as a mod and viewer. It's not to say that research is bad or research is inadequate or anything like that. Like, research is really good, and I still recommend that you research. But after you do your research, reach out to the people that you're supposed to be advocating with, not for, but with. Reach out to the people you're supposed to be advocating with, and ask them if your interpretation of the research is correct. There's a lot of different ways to go about this kind of research, but lived experience is something that's not often captured in a lot of research. This is the research that would go into this topic would be qualitative psychosocial research, and even that is biased. There's very little that captures what racial and ethnic discrimination looks like, so you're not likely to find much anyway, and I would definitely recommend just reaching out and listening to the experiences of people who are already putting them out there, not asking people to share their experience. There are a lot of people on YouTube, and maybe at some point I can compile a list of people that I know are talking about these things in very helpful ways and highlighting the correct voices and things like that. It will take a while, so, you know, if I do that, don't be expecting that it's gonna come anytime soon, because I'm in school and stuff, and that takes a lot of work. But just share resources with each other. Like, if you are on YouTube and you see someone was talking about, you know, their experience, then maybe share that with your pals. Like, I would recommend having like a resources channel on your Discord. If you have a Discord, it can be really helpful to have a resources channel where people are able to share that with each other in a way that doesn't force anyone to share their experiences, and highlights people who are already doing that so they can get paid. I'm gonna scroll back up to Jelly's question. Hey Jellybud, what are some good signs of a diverse application process? Is there anything to look out for? Can you explain that a little bit more? Because I don't, like, are you saying like as an applicant or as someone creating the application? And yeah, to kind of highlight what Suze is saying, just want to add, as someone who has read a lot of problematic articles, a lot of academics that are writing these papers about race and diversity are not directly in touch with the communities they write about. It's good to see who is writing the research and make sure that they are a valid speaker on these issues. I 100% agree with that. So exactly what Suze just said. As an applicant, my green flags for an application are, from a racial and ethnic standpoint only, my green flag is when they include a question about marginalization, like what, you know, if the application says something along the lines of how do you protect marginalized people or minoritized people. I'm not too fond of, like, from a disabled perspective, I have a lot of like conflict with navigating having an inclusive stream team and getting an inclusive stream team through the application process, and making sure that we're recognizing that some people just don't have the spoons to be able to answer the question fully. But if you're applying for the team, sometimes you just have to trust that that's their intent, is to have a diverse application process. So that's the question I look for, if I make it to that point. Now, I will share what I do before I even apply for a stream team. I will look at the founding people. I will look at their Twitch page. I will look at, their values. That's where the meat and potatoes of diversity are, for lack of a better term, is in the values. If their values are already lacking, there's nothing about diversity, there's nothing about inclusivity, there's nothing about action, like direct action as to what we are going to do to include it, to ensure that we are being inclusive in their values. I'm not applying for the team. If I go to the team founders page and all of the majority of their recommended streamers are white, I'm not applying for your team. If I go to your page and you have a no politics rule, I am not applying for your team. If I go to your Twitter and you've never ever said anything about diversity, about inclusion, beyond the scope of what your stream team is, for instance, a lot of disabled people will talk about disability, a lot of queer people will talk about queerness. If I don't see nothing about anything outside of what your stream team is about, I'm out of there. Like, I am out of there. So that's what I look for. Let's see. Thank you so much, Tophilium. I hope I've been saying your name right. Thank you so much for the host and for the quiet hello. Yeah, that's another thing. If you have a no politics rule, I would really, really ask you to dive into why you have that rule, because at this point, human rights are politicized. So having a no politics rule, you're basically saying I don't care about your human rights, and you can take that how you want, but that's the truth. That's it. Like, there's no gray area there. There's no nuance. If you have a no politics rule, I'm not even gonna follow you. I'm not gonna apply for your stream team. Get the heck out of my face. Like, I'm not doing it. My rights have been politicized forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, to even pretend like the politicization of people's bodies is new is wrong, because the fact that me as a black person had to have something written in the Constitution to give me my rights says that I'm politicized. So no politics means you don't respect my rights as a human being. Sorry, not sorry. Thank you, Imagination, for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah, see, I've noticed a lot that in music, a lot of in academia in general, it's mostly white opinions because it's easier for white people to get published. But yeah. Thank you, Mick, for the host. B says, Chi, thank you for today. Thank you so much. Beyond the application process, do you have any recommendation as to how to continue to make the folks who are accepted feel included and safe? Definitely having open conversations about diversity. If you are a team manager, if you are a founding member, I would really recommend that you create a space and create room for the members of your team, especially the BIPOC members of your team, to be separate from the team. For instance, in the DC3, I asked the founding members and the support team to create a Discord server separate from me and Quirky, where they can talk about the gripes that they have with us, come together as a group, and then communicate their gripes to us in a way that really shifts the power dynamic and makes it a little bit more balanced. Obviously, there's still always going to be an imbalance there, but that's like the biggest thing I recommend. I haven't heard too many people do that, but my professor did it in a class, and it really helped us to be able to communicate our needs to the professor to enact change, and it was really, really helpful. So creating a space where the people of color in your team can interact and discuss what their needs are, and then bring them to you, maybe anonymously or just at the very least as a group, to reduce that power dynamic. Thank you, Mick, for the host. Yeah, I agree, non-binary. Like, I've seen people say, like, no trauma dumping, no bringing up, like, heavily politicized news. I think that's a little bit different, and it really depends on how you phrase it. But if you just specifically say no politics and just leave it at that, I'm not doing it. And exactly, Suze, it is all white people on the board approving things. Thank you so much for all the hosts. I really appreciate it. Did that answer your question, B? I think maybe another thing that could potentially be helpful is like, instead of hosting the conversations yourself, thank you, Brianna. If instead of hosting the conversation yourself, use your privilege to highlight what people are doing. So, like, a lot of you today recognize that I am a marginalized individual hosting this space, and a lot of you paid me, a lot of you hosted me, a lot of you retweeted me, a lot of you mentioned me in your own servers and things like that, and I was able to, like, really uplift my voice to where I'm getting paid for this. My voice is being recognized as coming from me and not as something that's in proximity to you as a white person. One thing that I've really been struggling with lately is maintaining my identity and maintaining that my opinions and that my belief system is valid regardless of its proximity to white people. And I think that that's something that I'm learning to navigate myself, and that I hope people are able to listen to as I learn to navigate that. Thank you, Unpredictable Artist, for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you, Del the Lemon, for the follow. Welcome in. Hopefully that helps as well. I don't know if it does. Thank you so much, Ebony, for the $5 tip. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for all the hosts, y'all. You know, we started this stream at 50% on my Ko-fi goal. So, we're already at 66% today. Hey Dolly, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you, Kate, for the 100 biddies. How do I tell Destiny? Is it okay if I say Destiny, or would you rather I say your full name? Hey Destiny Ray. So how do I tell if a team is actually committed to equity, justice, and not just looking diverse, if that makes sense? Honestly, I don't know that there's actually an answer to that. I will say that if they're opening their wallets, then that's all that matters. And I know that sounds very maybe counterproductive, but if the people who are claiming that they're diverse are actually acting in a diverse way, I don't know that we should really spin the spoons and take the energy and time to try and decipher if they're being diverse out of kindness or out of, the right reasons. Hello, thank you so much for the $50. Thank you so much, SN Reloaded. Thanks Internet, for the gift of sub to Del the Lemon. Now y'all starting the second hype train already. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. But I will say, Destiny, if in any way you feel like anywhere in your spirit, like, this stream team is not actually being diverse, maybe that's a sign to step away. If you cannot trust that the team is diverse, then maybe just step away. Diversity in racial and ethnic context. Thank you so much, Del the Lemon. I really appreciate it. I mean, that's definitely also true imagination. Everywhere. It says as a streamer, so everywhere. And that's exactly it. See, like, that's the thank you so much, Ebony, for the 50 biddies. That's exactly what I was referring to when I say people have a tendency to center and really ignore they center their marginalized identities and really ignore their privileged identities. Like, and again, I wanna really highlight this as an exercise that I 100% recommend all of you take the time to do. I don't care if you believe that you are the most marginalized person on this planet. I can guarantee you that if you're sitting here, or you're watching this stream, or you're watching it live, you're watching a VOD, I can guarantee you are privileged in some sense. And you need to learn to recognize that. And if you cannot recognize one aspect in which you are privileged, you have a lot of growth to do. So sitting down and there's actually something called the addressing framework. And it was created by Pamela Hayes. And I'm gonna go ahead and share this actually, because I think it could be a really good resource. This one's really good, so this will explain what I'm talking about. So the addressing framework is a way to really identify cultural and systemic privilege. Thank you so much, Destiny, for the $5. It's a way to identify systemic and cultural privilege, but also recognize your marginalized identities. So if you go through this, you should be able to identify some space in which you are privileged. So yeah, I definitely recommend doing this. And of course, it has the disclaimer: consider this mnemonic a starting point. Other social factors to understand can include educational level, food insecurity, housing, communication, and language. And then it challenges you to think of what other factors you can think of. I definitely recommend doing that whenever you have the time. And maybe, challenge, if you're on a like mostly white stream team, challenge them to do it. And that leads me into my next point. If you are white and you're joining these majority white stream teams, the blame is on you too, honey. I don't care here to ask a question. I didn't ask for your opinion. Now you're banned. This is what I mean by having the capacity to decenter yourself. But like I was saying, if if you're joining these stream teams and you are white, bestie, you're to blame as well. And I'm kind of tired of what I've noticed lately is that a lot of these stream teams that are majority white tend to use one person as the scapegoat, whether that be like the founder, whether that be the founding members. Like, y'all, a lot of people like to place the blame only on the founder, and in a way it is majority their fault, absolutely. But at some point, we gotta talk about how a lot of white people be joining these stream teams knowing that they're majority white, and then talking about, oh, I gotta back down from joining this team. Bestie, why did you join it in the first place? Why did you join it in the first place? You knew it was white when you joined, did you not? So it's your fault too. So definitely like challenge your please, not sassy soy is giving right now. Challenge your space to if challenge yourself to really consider why you're joining this stream team. Like, as someone who's a person of color and has joined and been invited to majority white stream teams, like, I choose to join some of these stream teams because, again, I like to rock the boat. I like to shake the table. That's something I enjoy doing. But as a white person, if you're joining these stream teams, what are you actually doing? And if you choose to leave without actually assisting in the commitment to diversity, why did you join in the first place? And why was diversity not on your mind when you joined? And why is it that now that diversity has become the hot topic regarding your team, that you choose to detach from it? Like, at the very least, consider sticking it through and supporting the team in building diversity. You know what I'm saying? Because you joined it. So you have an obligation there, and you have a responsibility to take the time to assist, because you're just as much to blame, because you contributed to the team being majority white by joining it in the first place. No, like, I've literally seen, Navi, to your point, I've literally seen people say things like, I'm so proud of you for leaving this racist stream team. Like, what are you proud of them for? Why are you proud? You don't deserve praise for doing what is objectively right, which is leaving a team that directly worked against diversity and equity movements on Twitch. Like, you don't deserve praise for that. The same way that these founders don't deserve praise if they create a BIPOC or BIMPOC forward space. And, like, on occasion, I will, highlight people who are doing that. because I think that that's still important. But there's a difference between highlighting to encourage the behavior and praising. Like, I'm not going to tell you that you are special for doing what you should have been doing, but I will highlight that this is a not common occurrence. But that's about it. That's all. That's pretty much all you're getting out of me, bestie. Like, I literally watched, and I'm not gonna name names, but I literally watched someone leave a stream team and meet their Kofi goal. They left a white person left the stream team because their team was majority white and got shut down for being majority white, and everyone donated to their Kofi. And I want you to know that I was so heated, y'all. It takes a lot for me to not make threads, and I thought about it, and I thought about calling these people out, but I'm not gonna do it because you know what's gonna happen is that racist white people are gonna go shower that person and positive affection and positive attention and tell them about how they were the victim of affirmative action, and that just contributes to a whole nother issue that I'm not interested in doing. Yeah, Digidome, it is. It is very performative. And that's my point, Aikawi Princess. Aikawi Princess says, see, I feel like they genuinely don't notice until it's pointed out to them, and the context is that their team is majority white, which is not an excuse. And yeah, that's exactly my point, is that you don't deserve to be praised for leaving the team because you didn't recognize that it wasn't diverse until after it was pointed out, and then at that point you were like, let me leave this dream team. You're not getting praised for that. And the fact that people on social media tend to praise those individuals is very problematic and something that I would really, really appreciate if we all stopped doing. Like, I'm not telling you, I'm gonna tell you you did the right thing if that's what you need to hear, but it's not praise. It's me saying, yeah, you did the right thing. But most of the time, I will question, like, if I'm comfortable enough, I'm gonna question, why did you even join it in the first place? But I will say that if you're marginalized, recognize that you're gonna get a lot of flack if you do some of the things that I do. I'm doing this, yes, and I might seem comfortable and confident, but the amount of absolute hate that I have gotten, the amount of, you know, I've been labeled violent, I've been labeled aggressive, I've been labeled combative, I've been labeled angry, and on the internet, that's a little bit more space than a little bit more safe than doing that in the real world, but there's still safety considerations. So if you're gonna get into this work as a person of color, please be careful. Like, I've already been doxxed in, like, for speaking out about this type of stuff. Um and people who do this tend to be attacked. So I just want to make that clear. Hello, the silent system. Thank you for the quiet hello. Yeah, we kind of talked about that, Mick, about, why like, why the majority white stream teams tend to stay majority white. If they commit to diversity, then they complain about how they don't have a lot of, like, people of color who apply, and part of it is that people are not going to feel comfortable if your team is already majority white. They're not going to feel comfortable applying. Like, you're not going to make me, your black person on the team. Because what's not going to happen is, I swear on everything, if y'all take away anything from this, there's a lot of things to take away from this stream, but if y'all take away anything from this stream, please stop tokenizing the people of color on your team. Like, oh, we have this person of color on our team, or we have 50% people of color and 50% white people. It blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. Stop doing that shit. And that's me saying that for real. Stop doing that. I swear, if anyone has the audacity to put me in a thread and be like, here's my black person saying that they agree with me, y'all will get rocked. I mean, I'm going in on you. I'm streaming that minute. As soon as you tag me, I'm opening up my stream and I'm going to talk shit about you. Because what you're not going to do is tokenize me, honey. And I challenge all people of color to not allow that to happen to them. Because I've seen it way too much and that's freaking weird. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. If you have to, like, start your opinion with, you know, I'm black and, or I have black friends and, or whatever, take it back. Leave it in the drafts, please. Absolutely. Absolutely, Mick. Mick says, and the tokenized POC is always the first person to be thrown under the bus. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, because, you know, when that stuff happened with that Chloe XO streamer, and people were saying, like, you did brown face, which I have my opinions on what, you know, brown face, the co-opting of very black specific terms makes me a little uncomfortable sometimes. But I'm not gonna get into that just this second. But when they accused Chloe XO of doing, when they told her that she was doing blackface or brownface, which she was, you know, all the members of that team highlighted the one black person that said, like, that Chloe wasn't doing brown face, and we're like, this person is black. Like, literally, I've seen a tweet, I kid y'all not, that said, this person is black, and even they're saying it's not brown face, and tagged them. Y'all, have you lost it? Gather your marbles, honey. And if you are the black person, or you are the person of color, or you are the marginalized individual that's being used in that way, please love yourself. I'm begging. Like, I don't know how to help you, you know? That's something you need to get in. You need to get into yourself. You need to learn to love yourself. But honey, please love yourself. I was like, hello? Oh my gosh. I know it's kind of off topic, but... Absolutely, Moonchild, I agree. Hey, Chase. Hey, Asia, we're talking about the Chloe XO situation. My thing is, like, this is another thing that might be helpful to people. Another thing that might be helpful to people is, if one person of color, if one person of color is telling you, I'm offended by that, that is 100% always going to be more important to consider than, thank you so much, Haley, for the $10. That is important. That is 100% going to be more important to consider than whoever is telling you that they're not offended. Because if you're not offended by something, the impact of having that change is not going to harm you. For example, you know, if 100,000 people said, I am not offended by, you know, people darkening their foundation, right? If 100,000 people said that, that's, you not darkening your foundation also shouldn't matter, right? If you use your correct foundation shade, that also shouldn't harm them, right? But if one person is saying that you darkening your foundation is harmful to them, continuing to darken your foundation is going to harm them. Does what I'm saying make sense? Like, the impact on the people who are saying that they're not harmed by what you're doing means that you can do either or. So why not do the thing that harms the least number of people? And that's what I want to know from these people. Like, why not do the thing that harms the least number of people. Why would you latch on to the people who are saying that they're not harmed by it, when you could instead harm less people by just listening to the one person who said they are harmed by it? I'm gonna read through chat real quick. Thank you, Brianna, for posting my Ko-fi. If you are, financially safe enough to donate and you think that what I'm saying I'm preaching, then maybe open your wallet. No, I'm just gonna stop. I agree, Moonchild. Moonchild says, why is 100 minorities not enough for them and I'm gonna extend that a little bit. Why is 100 minorities saying that they don't like it not enough for them, but one saying that they're not bothered by it is enough for them? And I agree. Thank you so much, Brianna. Thanks, internet. Thank you so much for $50, y'all. I'm paying my bills today, honey. Hold on. Y'all paying my bills today. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Navi. Not the hashtag pay Chi-Chi. Please. So I want to talk a little bit about what diversity management looks like for a team that is already yeah, please feel free to share, Asia. I want to talk about a little bit about what you can do if you're watching this and you have a space, a stream team, or official or not, and your space is not diverse and you want to commit to diversity. Please ask questions now, and I would really appreciate if you ask questions. But I want to help y'all. Like, if you're in this space, I feel comfortable, more than comfortable, helping y'all to diversify your space. And I would really appreciate if those of you who are running majority white stream teams kind of ask questions. Be humble and exercise your humility by asking questions now. Because that's my big intent. Part of my intent is showing solidarity with the people who have been harmed by the fact that most teams are majority white, but another part of it is being able to leave y'all space to ask questions and exercise humility so that people can see that you actually are committed. Asia says, I have a lot of trust in the larger non-BIPOC creators. Don't want to be anti-racist, they just want to be comfortable. Sorry, but I have lost a lot of trust in larger non-BIPOC creators that don't want to be racist. They just want to be comfortable and make their money. And that is 100% fair. And we kind of addressed that a little bit. But if you are one of those creators who is actually committed to diversity and you feel harmed by that statement, then you are not committed to diversity. And that's just it. Like, if what Asia just said, or if what any other person of color, if a person of color telling you, I do not trust you because you are white, harms you, I do not trust you to diversify your space or be committed to being BIPOC forward because you are white, if that harms you, you have a lot of growth to do. You have a lot of growth to do, and they are right. Because if you feel harmed by that, then that means that you really aren't. Like, in being able to decenter yourself, you're able to recognize why someone would say that. Does it suck? Maybe. But that doesn't mean that you should tell that person that. And you shouldn't be able to voice that you're harmed. Like, you shouldn't even feel comfortable voicing that you're harmed by that. And that's something I'm learning too. Like, And for humility's sake, like, I make mistakes all the time when it comes to being BIPOC forward. For the most part, I only know what it means to be Black forward, and sometimes I'm not able to capture other groups. But I exercise humility, and I leave room for them to criticize me. And that's what you have to do. And saying, you know, I never meant to be this way, or I never meant to be racist, they don't need to know that. Who cares? Fix it. And that's something I'm learning too. So doing stuff like that. Farah asks, how do you encourage more POC to apply? Because I'm POC, but sometimes I worry that's not enough to make people comfortable. Honestly, like, I don't know that there's like steps you can necessarily take to make people feel more comfortable in applying if your team is already majority white. I think part of it is recognizing that and understanding that that's a consequence of what you've created. Like, if you made a team that was, you know, majority white, and I'm not saying you as in you, Farrah, because I know you're a person of color, but like, if the team is already majority white, you have to recognize that a potential consequence is that you're never going to get POC and just shut down. Give it up. Like, and that's just that. You can definitely do things. Sorry, I don't understand what you mean. Can you explain it? And if you want to DM me the context of what you're saying, Farah, I know we have each other on Discord. Thank you, Moonchild, for your kind words. Asia says, I reached out to some large Apex creators because I teach an anti-racist course for small businesses, and it was the common response, like, I was the one responsible for the situation. Yeah, those people are not ready to learn, and, like, take their money, absolutely, but, like, you know, recognize the minimum amount of effort you have to put into that to get paid. Because they're not ready yet. Thank you, Brianna, for posting your rules. Would it be easier if I make that like a rule, Brianna, so you don't have to keep copy pasting it? I agree. Make impact over intent. What's Destiny says, what's the best way to reach out to BIPOC creators I admire but maybe I'm not friends with yet to offer opportunities? For me, it would be for collabs projects only at this point. If you're going to reach out to BIPOC creators to do collaborations, make sure it's hosted in their space. And make sure that if it's like BIPOC centric, like the themes are about BIPOC, well, really, even if it's not, I would definitely recommend hosting it in their space. So, like, if it's a Twitch collaboration, really highlighting their page over your own if you're really trying to commit to diversity. Because a lot of times, like, I've been invited to panels on diversity, and instead of bigger creators, like, I've had bigger creators reach out to me and be like, hey, I would love to have you on this panel, and if I'm not gaining more than you are, then I'm not doing it. So, like, followers are great, right? But you're making money from this. If you're streaming and you're running ads and it's on your channel, you are making money from that. So if you're making more than me from hosting this on your page, then I'm not doing it. And so, like, really establishing that this is for them. And if you're collaborating with someone who is less privileged than you, learning how to highlight them is going to be really important. And there's a couple of different ways to do it, but yeah, that's going to be a really big part of it. Moonchild says, make sure your team members are also a reflection of your goals. I saw a team that had BIPOC members, but one of the white members had voodoo in their name. I was done right there. I didn't feel safe. Thank you for sharing that, Moonchild. Farah says, like, for example, a team that hasn't even started, no members, but applications to encourage BIPOC people to, definitely just, it honestly, like, and it, again, you have to really understand, like, for the people who are starting to build a team and you want to be BIPOC forward and you're not a person of color, you have to recognize that one of the consequences of systemic marginalization and historical marginalization is going to be that people of color just do not trust you because you're white. And if you have not already established yourself as a person with a commitment to diversity prior to building your stream team, people are not going to trust you. And really, they shouldn't. If you do not, before you even talk about establishing a BIPOC forward stream team, you need to commit to that. And committing to that means doing the things in the beginning to create comfort, to create a space where people of color can already be comfortable. So like you have to commit to that way before you even create the stream team, or else people are not going to trust you. Take your time, Ebony. And let me go ahead and make this command real quick so that Brianna can. It's just gonna be. It's gonna be under. If you post rules, hey Panda. If you post rules, Brianna, I'm about to fix the command right now. But when you post the rules, it's gonna post both. So let me see. Let me find the rules. Wait, can I not have multiple messages? Oh, I guess it won't let me. Maybe if I do rules again. Did it work? Rules 2. Hold on, sorry. I don't know if I did it right. No, it's not working. It's not letting me save the command. Let me try again. Alright, it's rules 2. Rules 2. I'm gonna put that in the title real quick. Rules 2 is the command. Let me scroll back up real quick. Yeah, Asia, honestly, if you do things for free, if you do things for free, there's nothing wrong with doing things for free. Like I hosted this space with intent for it to be free, but like if you feel comfortable, please reach out to me so I can try and highlight it so you can get paid, because what the heck. Hey Koopa Shell. Thank you for all the hosts. I really appreciate it, friends. Hey Not Bella. I hope you're doing well. Thank you everyone for the hosts. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Hey Lucia. How Chase asks, not making a stream team, but how does one really start to make a community where everyone aside from bigots feels safe and able to talk about their issues? Again, I think it just really committing to that without intent of gaining anything. Does that make sense? Like, if you're committed to it, people will see it. So don't commit to diversity with intent to be recognized as a person who commits to diversity. And I'm not saying that that's what you're doing, but I'm saying like a lot of times people want to reap the almost like immediate benefits of being a diverse space. That is like benefits like being recognized and labeled as a diverse space, being recognized and labeled as a space that's safe. Um, just commit to that without any expectation, because again, you have to recognize that a consequence of just being white means that you represent something that has, you know, marginalized, historically marginalized people. And you have to recognize that that's a very real consequence of that. Let's see. Is the rules 2 command working now? I don't think. Is it working now? That's fair, Asia. Just if you do something like that again, I would really appreciate if you consider reaching out to me so I can highlight it. I know a lot of people on Twitter lately have followed me for my social justice views, so that way I can highlight it so that you can get paid. Even if you don't like, even if you're not doing it with intent to get paid, you deserve to get paid, and it sets a precedent that people will not get access to education like this for free all the time, because sometimes people start to demand it. And I'm not saying they'll demand it of you, and I'm not saying you allow that, but it just really sets a precedent that people deserve to be paid. Thank you, Asia. I appreciate considering that. Yeah, the rules, it's working. Thank you. Thank you, Koopa Shell. I think it's also like, in this, for the sake of using that analogy, don't just eat last, but like, because that's not enough, right? And I know that this is an analogy and it's supposed to be like metaphorical and stuff, but it's not just eating last. Really put those people first to where they can be full. Fill these people first. Does that make sense? Because you can eat last and still reap all the benefits. And I've seen that a lot where people will highlight people of color but not really encourage their community to do things like give this person more than what you're giving me. Like, if you're hosting this space, what I'll see is that people will say like, don't forget to pay this content creator, but they won't really specify like, this content creator deserves to be paid more than I do because they're the one that's living this and they're the ones that's doing this work. Does that make sense? Let's see. Yeah, we kind of talked about that imagination, like, and that's why again I want to bring up the addressing framework. I would really challenge people to do this, regardless of how privileged or marginalized you might believe yourself to be. Please consider doing like completing the addressing framework. This is a very simple version, and it basically just asks you to consider, what is your status in these specific categories, and then what does that mean for you. Like, is that a privileged identity, is that a marginalized identity, and have conversations with people. about what this looks like. I don't know that it has screen reader access. I don't know how to check for something like that. If it's something that can be read via screen reader. If someone uses a screen reader, can you please let, I think, Quirky, can you let me know if this works with like screen reader functions on like your phone or something like that? Because if it does, then I'll share it on Twitter. Thank you so much, Quirky. I really appreciate you. No, it's all good. I definitely came to this prepared to like repeat a lot of stuff because like that's just part of like hosting a kind of live stream. Especially like an unstructured one. This stream doesn't really have a specific structure. I just came in here with like points that I knew I needed to address, and then was hoping that people would come with questions. A couple of like content creators, white content creators that have like majority white stream teams did like kind of reach out to me and like say, that they like appreciate me for hosting this space. It would really show your appreciation if you ask questions. So that like again, like just exercise your humility and take time to ask questions. Because if I see you and you make another all white space, like you had your chance right here. Like really, to be honest, there's no excuse going forward, right? We agree there's no excuse. I hosted a space, I gave education, no excuse for any more majority white stream teams. If y'all see some majority white stream teams, just know that they did it on purpose. That's me being dramatic. Like I know that, people might not be here, but yeah, so I'm gonna post the VOD will be shared, and then once the like you have to wait like a couple days before posting stuff that you streamed or that you recorded on Twitch to like YouTube. It'll also be posted on YouTube, that way it's up like indefinitely. That's fair, Koopa Shell. I definitely don't want you to ask no silly stuff. As more than just this. Okay. I'll find another source that should be screen reader friendly, or I'll just I'll make my own document. Oh, no problem. I hope your headache goes away. Please get your rest. I think I might have a document. Let me check. I think I might already have one. I have the one that I did. Oh yeah, I have one. Let's see. So this is the one that I have. Oh, let me hide this one. So this is the one that I have. So it's like I can share this as well later on. But okay. So as a like kind of image description, this is a table that documents Pamela Hayes' addressing framework, and the categories are as follows: area of marginalization or privilege. Then there's a column for where you can mark if it's privileged or if it's marginalized, and some things can be both. Some people can have both privileged and marginalized identities within one category. And then comments. So that's the last column is where you explain your identity. So an example is age, and this person is privileged in their age because they are 27 years old. Therefore, they're old enough to advocate for themselves, but not so old that they are victimized by ageist ideology, like old people, don't know what they're talking about, or old people shouldn't make decisions for themselves. Like, that's ageism. So yeah, that's how it goes. So I'll share this one. I'll share it on Twitter. Yeah, I'll share it on Twitter. Alright, let me look at chat. How do you navigate diverse spaces that may feel exclusionary based on diversity identifiers? Like, we welcome all, but as long as you're XYZ. Can you give a specific example of that, Asia? I'm sorry. Like, can you give an example of, like, what you're referring to? No, you can't? Okay. So I'll explain how I'm understanding this. So, like, maybe I would think that an example would be, like, a space that's LGBTQIA plus friendly. No, I can't really think of an example. Yeah, can you DM me later? Because, like, me as a person, like, based off of how I'm understanding that, me as a person, I would just not enter that space. Because if I feel excluded, maybe asking why would be important. But at the same time, like, all I can think about is, like, I don't know. Yeah, yes, please, yes. Please DM me. Matea says, for teams who want to commit to intersectionality, would you recommend a source like Peer-to-Peer Live to find streamers and reach out to them directly to join their teams? I think Peer-to-Peer Live is great, but, like, I don't know that everyone really has, like, with using peer-to-peer live, like, I noticed actually when I first, and this is not to say that this is peer-to-peer live's fault, but when I first joined peer-to-peer live was when I started getting hate rated. So, like, I know a lot of people, and this is a conversation a couple of people have had with me about how when they think about joining, like, these content creator libraries that are meant to uplift, like, marginalized people, they're worried about being, like, hate rated and being targeted as a result of being on these sites, so they don't apply to them. So you're very, like, likely to not capture people who might be great for your team and just are not safe. Like, the safety is a big issue, so it's unfortunate. Like, I would recommend it definitely, but also talk to the people. Like, if you do find someone from these sites, talk to them about who they might recommend. Talk to them and say, like, hey, do you maybe recommend, like, do you have any friends who you think would fit for this stream team? And go from there, as opposed to just relying on, like, peer-to-peer. SN Reloaded says, in addition to your suggestion from earlier for the application form for asking how the applicant will help to promote marginalized identities beyond the focus of the team, what other statements or promises can help show that our team is dedicated to bettering ourselves and providing a more diverse and intersectional space? Again, I don't know that that's something that you can really do in an application, because you can type out anything. Like, you can watch this VOD and add whatever to your application, but, like, if you're not already doing that prior to the development of your stream team, like, if you're not already, known for being someone who's committed to diversity, then chances are people are not gonna really care. Like, if I see that, for instance, you're the founder of the team, and all your stream recommendations, like your recommended streamers bar at the bottom of your Twitch page, is all white, I don't give a heck what your application looks like. I'm not applying to your team because you could say whatever, but what are you doing? What are you doing? That's the question. So like, yeah, you can add stuff to say that you're committed to diversity, like things like, you know, saying that accountability as a value is going to be very important. But again, a lot of people have used that word and not really understood what that means. That means being able to decenter yourself. That means being able to take the blame. That means being able to just listen and not really have a conversation. Like, we don't need to know what the consequences of you being held accountable were. No one cares. That's not the point. Like, if you're being held accountable, be held accountable. We don't want to know my feelings were hurt because someone called me racist. Like, no one cares. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes. See, and if anyone else wants to have like a private conversation, that's fine. Just feel free to reach out to me. Let me make sure. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah. I think Brianna and Bo kind of helped to. I'll get to your question, Bella. Brianna and Bo might have kind of helped. Um, understand. I think that if people are actually committed to diversity, that means expanding what diversity looks like. Like if you're committed to diversity for LGBTQIA plus individuals, being able to recognize the plus, you know, like if a group said like we support LGBTQ. Okay, so what about the I? What about the A? What about the 2S? You know what I'm saying? Where's the plus? So like really looking for super inclusive language. Let me accept this real quick. Looking at the language that they use. If you don't feel comfortable, just don't, I would advise you just don't join. Maybe create your own space. Shoot, that's what I did. Bella says, do you have advice or ways to evaluate the approachability of your own space without having to rely on marginalized individuals telling you if it is or isn't welcome? Reach out to people who are already doing that. Like I said, I'm one of those people who is very comfortable doing that, like looking at your space. Again, I'm my own person, and I don't, we're not a monolith, so what I'm saying might not be accurate, but I will say that, like, I'm informed by the personal, like, anecdotal experiences of other people who reach out directly to me via DM and tell me why they don't feel safe in certain spaces. So I feel that for the most part, I kind of have a well-rounded approach to evaluating the teams that can at least get you started. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know that you'll ever be able to, like, prepare to be diverse. Like, you're either going to be diverse or you're not, and it starts with reaching out to the people who are already cultivating spaces like this, and then really just doing the work and always being open to criticism. I think is going to be really important. That's good to know, Lucia. Like I said, I really value peer to peer, but I know from personal conversations that some people will not join peer to peer because they're worried about being, you know, being targeted. And of course, that's like always going to be a possibility, and it's not to say that, like, people should be worried about that or whatever. I'm just saying why I know some people don't join. So, like, a way to help would be to look at the people who have joined and then ask them, like, what are some people you might recommend for this dream team? Thank you, Mick. Yeah, that's another thing. I think a lot of people forget that you have to like your experience, like my experience as a light-skinned black person are completely different than those of a dark-skinned black person. So like if I were to say like this is what it means to be black, that would not be accurate. We're not a monolith. Just remember that no group, no identity is going to be monolithic in any nature. I don't care how specific you get. Me as a I'm not going to list all my identities, but like for instance, me as a black trans, non-binary, queer, disabled person, my experience is not going to be the same as another black, trans, non-binary, disabled, queer person. So just recognizing that people are not monolithic is going to be really valuable. Thank you, Taro. Thank you, C. Yeah, it would be nice if sorry, I'm taking this hairpin out my head. It would be nice if I'm looking at who's chatting, and again, like I recognize not everyone has the spoons to chat, but it would be nice if like more of the people who are doing these really harmful things and creating these white stream teams would actually like talk. And I know that feels like a lot of pressure, and it should be like y'all need to talk, because why am I looking at chat and I recognize so many of the names, and I know that a lot of us are already people of color, so it's like where are the people who are actually doing the harm? Because right now sometimes it feels like I preach to the choir a lot about like these things, and it's kind of stinky sometimes. Okay, I'll check in a moment, Asia. When it comes to a stream team, do you find a difference between teams promoting safe spaces versus brave spaces versus accountability spaces? Absolutely. I actually made a tweet about this the other day. I talked about how safe space is starting to become a yellow flag for me. And for me, a yellow flag means that I stop, I pause, and I think about what they're actually doing in using these terms, right? So when I see the term safe space, it's become a yellow flag for me, because a lot of people take the term safe space and have changed it to mean that we have to be considerate of everyone's feelings, and that's not the case. Like, I don't care about safe spaces. I care about liberated spaces. That's what I want to see. I want to see a space that people can take accountability, people can speak about their marginalization in a very liberated way, to where and it, like what Thanks Internet said, safe for who, and it even goes beyond that, like not just safe for who, but what is safety. Like, liberation has a connotation to me that is a little bit different than safe, because again, it's changed a lot, and exactly shows Sheepy. I can't really say your name, I'm sorry. I have like a brain thing. Sometimes my language gets kind of lost. So I apologize. Koopa Shell says, I feel like there's a bit of a veil between white people supporting BIPOC, BIMPOC creators and these creators alienating themselves from what? Again, you don't. You don't overcome it. Like, recognize that you're just not going to be trusted. Like, if you are truly committed to diversity, recognize that you're not going to be trusted and still do the work. Still do the work. Does that make sense? So like, if someone isn't trusting you as a white person to assist them, do things behind the scenes to help them. For instance, if you are a streamer and you want to support a BIPOC creator, maybe highlighting them without letting them know. Highlight them and help give them money. Like, open your wallet. And if you don't have the financial capacity to open your wallet, then like, do the things like sharing their posts. But do it in a way that's like, directly highlight them, of course, but do it in a way where they're not gonna see it because they already don't trust you. So don't pressure them, by doing things. It's very tricky. So I would say that there's like definitely a way to do it. I haven't fully fleshed that out, but I will flesh it out and I will come back to you to let you know how I would do it. But like the best way that's not gonna harm anyone is open your wallet. Or create a space where others can open their wallet for them. Like post their Ko-fi. I don't know anyone who's gonna be like, this white person posted my Ko-fi and I got donations or tips and I'm angry. Like I don't know too many people who are gonna be that way. Like most people are gonna just take the money. But also recognize that you're not going to get praise. You shouldn't get praise for that. And if people are giving you praise for like highlighting a BIPOC, BIMPOC creator, directly challenge them to not do that. Does that make sense? Let's see. But like, yeah, you just recognize that you're not gonna be able to. There's some people you're not gonna earn their trust because of intergenerational systemic oppression. Like at this point, it's an intergenerational form of trauma that you're not gonna overcome by just being kind. Like I don't care how kind you are. If I don't trust white people, then I just don't trust white people. And like the people who have earned my trust, the white people who have earned my trust, are people who never pressured me in the first place. They just sat there and listened, and that's how they earned my trust. And that's not also not gonna work for everyone. Yeah, imagination says, I don't think it's up to you to decide if you're a safe space. That's for others to decide for you. And I made a tweet thread about like allyship and safe spaces, saying exactly that. Like a lot of people label themselves a safe space or an ally, and I think Twitch adding that was one of the worst things that we can do. I really feel that way. I feel like Twitch needs to take away the ally tag. And you don't like, who are you to label yourself an ally? And if you have the ally tag and I come into your post or I come to your page, like, you might not be an ally to me. How do you even know? Like, that's such a general term. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't like that. I don't like the ally and safe space tags. I don't like them at all. I really feel that they should not exist. Thank you for the hydrate. I have this like big like gallon of water. It's like halfway done. I got it yesterday. And I know I haven't been drinking enough water, but I'm gonna drink some. I'm gonna read Aisha's DM before I continue. So give me a moment. This conversation, Asia, if you feel comfortable, can we talk about this tomorrow and in private? Because I have a lot of things to say. And I want to highlight what you're saying, but have a conversation about it first so that I can make sure that I'm angry for the right reasons. Because I'm actually very angry about this. Not at you, but angry at the people in this. The people involved in this. So I wanna be able to kind of understand what you feel first and then make the decision or talk about it from there. And then I'm gonna bring it up publicly as well. And thank you, Sheepy. I will definitely call you Sheepy. Thank you. Hello? Y'all, like the $50, the $50 tips are wild. That's a lot of money. Welcome in, Kim Gia. We are at 82%. We are at 82%. $50 is wild. That is a lot of money. Honestly, Chase, I say no, they shouldn't make a liberation space either. Just don't label no space. Thank you so much, Alora, for the $15. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot say thank you enough. My professor for my practicum course in my I'm getting a degree in counseling and psychotherapy. She's the one who taught me a lot of this stuff, and I'm so grateful to her. And I'm gonna text her tomorrow and be like, I shared a lot with you that you taught to me, and I'm very grateful. Like, she's the one who she actually connected me to a big leader in the Northeast regarding mental health, intersectionality. So she's very invested in the work that I do, and I'm very grateful to her. Yes, and Mick and Evie, thank you, Gray Meadows, for the follow. Gray and Evie are getting, sorry, not Evie, Evie. I have a friend whose name is Evie and is spelled the same way and it's so confusing, and I'm so sorry, Evie. I promise I will get it right. But Mick and Evie are getting at something we kind of talked about earlier, about how if you are going to be committed to diversity, you need to do it well beforehand, and also recognize that you shouldn't get validation. If you're really committed, please take time to push back. Elise, thank you for the 5. Put your wallet away, bestie. Put your wallet away. But thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Just make sure that you push back against that. Push back, like, for instance, me, like, if someone praises me for being inclusive, I do push back against that, and obviously, like, do it in a way that's like still kind, and like say thank you, of course, but like push back against praise. That's how we start to make it a standard instead of something to be rewarded or awarded. I love that, Aisha. Daniel, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm referring to, Asia. It's gonna take me a minute to catch up in chat, but welcome in, everyone. My name is Chi-Chi. I'm a cozy variety streamer and social justice advocate. I study mental... Navi, hello? Didn't you already send me $50? Didn't you already send... Y'all, if I look at my PayPal right now... Y'all... I don't think I've ever... Thank you, Maggie, for the $3. I don't think I've ever had this much money in my PayPal ever in my life. Ever. Like... I can't look at that. I can't look at it. I can't. Kami says, am I saying that right? Is it Kami or Cami? I want to make sure I'm saying it right. That reminds me of people who apologize and then get upset if people don't accept their apology. Yeah, you're not getting... I don't even... Sometimes when people say sorry, like, I don't even say nothing back. I'm not saying nothing to you. Like, you said sorry, that's fine, and I'm just gonna let you say sorry and leave it at that. Are there good Twitch panel integrations where you can highlight creators? I don't think that there's any like panels or anything. Like, you can make it... Thank you for $50, someone. Oh my gosh. I don't know that there's y'all, we're at 94%. We are at 94%. Oh my god. Like, hello? Okay, I'm just gonna not look at that. But yeah, I think there's not like any like panels There might be, but I think maybe just like if you could create the panels yourself, like and highlight those creators, then that might be helpful. But I don't know that there's anything that Twitch has besides like, you know, your recommended streamers. Honestly, a hot take, I think we should push back at the idea of even earning allyship. I truly feel that if you want to be an ally, like, yeah, sure, people can, because I honestly don't feel like there's an actual such thing as earning allyship. Thank you so much, Irene, for the $20. I don't think that there's actually such thing as earning allyship. Because it's a journey. It's not like you get to the point of, like, you don't get to a specific point and boom, you're an ally. Does that make sense? So I would really like to push back on the idea of even earning allyship, earning ally as a label. It's just a journey. So maybe we can not say like even earning allyship as a label. Maybe. And it's something I used to say too. I want to make that clear. I used to say like you have to earn being called an ally, but now like that I've really come far in my journey, I recognize that that's not really possible. Yeah, I know what it was made for, imagination, because I actually had people reach out to me like saying if I should I use the trans tag to show that I'm an ally to trans people, and I was like, no, hello, what's wrong with you? Why would you ask me that? So I know like that's part of why it might have been created, but just like let's talk about why you want to be recognized. Like we don't care. We do not care. Yeah, Rat, I definitely understand what you're saying. Sorry, I'm still trying to catch up on chat. Well, I don't think to answer your question, Destiny asked just to make sure I understand rather than be labeled rather than labeling your space, would it be better to just say your team values and has planned actions? I think it depends. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with saying like, you know, I believe in allyship or I want to create a safe space. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I think there's something wrong with saying I am a safe space or I am an ally, because you don't know, like tomorrow you might not be. Tomorrow you might do something harmful that really negates your ally status and therefore you're no longer an ally. So saying we want to be an ally to blah 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 blah, we want to work towards allyship, we believe in the continuous journey of allyship, we believe in cultivating a safe space, I think that has a very clear implication of continuous work and a continued journey. I'm still trying to catch it. Hello, is it Vestal or Vestal? Cat. I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. And I hope your stream went well, Daniel. I'm sorry, I'm just not catching up. Matea says, if you're able, can you give a specific example of what pushing back on praise looks like? Yeah, so if someone were to say like, you're so cool, you know, Matea, for making sure that your space is BIPOC forward, like, I'm not cool, that's the bare minimum. Everyone should be doing this. Does that make sense? like if it's like a person that you're creating a diverse space for, saying thank you, but I feel that this should have been the bare minimum. And like there will be a little bit of pushback against that, I'm sure, but I think that the benefits of that will probably outweigh the pushback, and that people will stop expecting praise. I think a lot of people create these spaces and then in turn expect praise. And if we push back, if the people who are getting the praise push back on it, then maybe people will actually stop praising these things and they can actually become the bare minimum. Because are they the bare minimum if every time someone does it we praise them? No, then it's not the bare minimum. We're recognizing that, we're rewarding it with attention, and we don't really need to always do that. And if we're trying to make it the bare minimum, the standard, then we have to stop doing that. Let's see. And thank you again, Navi. And thank you for saying I deserve the tips. I really appreciate it. Stream is going well, Daniel. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Is it Kihotries? I want to make sure I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry. I also created, I'm gonna post this real quick. If y'all could just take the time to like to highlight this, please. Not all these notifications. My whole timeline is Kofi. Holy guacamole. My whole timeline is Kofi right now. Please, Madison. Get out of here. Let me see if I can find it. Thank you for the shout out for Madison. I post, oh, here it is. If everyone could take time to sign this or to vote for this user voice, it advocates for having phonetic spelling as a display. So that I can like hover over your, like I would like if I could like hover over people's names and it would show like the phonetic spelling of their name. So that's what that link is to. If y'all could vote for that, I would really appreciate it, because that would help me so much. Sometimes it feels kind of microaggressive in a way when I can't pronounce someone's name. Because like the English language has like very weird rules that just don't consider like names, and that feels microaggressive, and I hate having to ask people how to pronounce their name. Mick asks, how do you feel about labeling someone an ally for direction? Like, I recommend checking this person out because of the work they do in this space. I think that's fine. Yeah, and I definitely know that, Kami. But yeah, I think directing people towards people who are, like, that's why I say things like committed to diversity, BIPOC forward. Like, that's why I use terminology like that, is because, like, that allows me to tell people, like, as far as I know, this person has done things that show that they are diverse, to show things that they are committed to diversity. So I think that's fine, but I think that we should also be specific, like committed to what kind of diversity. Committed to LGBTQIA plus diversity, committed to racial and ethnic diversity, like being very clear. Being very clear in what kind of diversity we're talking about. Exactly, Brianna. And to bring up the term anti-racist, and people need to be anti-racist. Like, more people need to be anti-racist than just not racist. I'm still trying to catch up. I'm sorry. Maybe not. Navi says, so like, thank you, but what I'm doing have done is the bare minimum. Maybe not the but saying thank you, thank you, and because sometimes like the word but can kind of come across as like argumentative. So maybe saying thank you, and I feel like this should be the bare minimum. Yeah, I have a friend who gets called Rec Wait when his name is Rec Waltz. So like just like having phonetic spelling would be so helpful. Yes, Madison, we're giving Richiana. I'm not Brookiana right now. Yeah, SN Reloaded, like having the phonetic spelling of someone's name show up as part of the first time chatter. Like if people have a I think if people have like a character based name, like I've seen people who have Korean names and next to their name it says what like the English version of their name would be or something along those lines. Just do that but with phonetic spelling. Like I would much rather learn to pronounce someone's name like if someone came in with a Korean name and I don't know how to say Korean, I would much rather not have them like tell me the English version of their name. I would like to know how to say it phonetically if they have the time and energy, and that would actually really decrease the amount of work people have to do to explain how to say their name. So that's just how I feel, but thank you for the hydrate. Let me drink some more water. Is that what it's called, Irene? Is it, how is that what that is? It romanization? Romanization? Quixotries? Quixotries. Also, I know this is kind of off topic, but like the number of people who have DM'd me and said that like watching me do this as an autistic person has really empowered them makes me feel very good. Like it makes me feel really happy when people say stuff like that. So thank you to all of you who do that. And shout out to all the auties out there. That's what Legend of Lala taught me. Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say too, Kami, is that if it was like, I think it should be highlighted. I would like if it was highlighted in your first time chat, like for every single person next to their name, the for their first time chat, it was highlighted, and then after that, you can hover over their name or click on their name. You know, like I click on Mixed Jade Moon, and it shows me like account created following tier 1 sub, blah 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 blah. And then under that say like the phonetic spelling of their name. I would really like that. Cause like me, I will usually remember how I'm supposed to pronounce someone's name, but I will second guess myself. So having it there all the time would be really helpful. Yeah, I agree. Thanks, internet. Pronouns would be really nice. I know we've kind of like just been chatting now. I'm caught up on chat. So I'm if anyone has any more questions, I'm definitely ready to answer questions. again, I just want to say that it would have been nice for more people who weren't POC to kind of weigh in on this conversation. Like, I'm definitely recognizing that there are a lot of white people in chat who are asking questions and who are speaking up and stuff like that, and I appreciate y'all. I just wish that the people who are running these stream teams were here. And there's some of them are, but I wish more of them were here. Like, this was the time, this was the space to do these things, and then, and it seems like everyone was like all for it, but then like now I'm hosting this space and there's no one to be found. So Madison, yeah, please ignore Madison. Madison is white, by the way, because Madison will say stuff like this, and we have had so many people assume Madison is not white. But Madison will say stuff like this all the time. Like, please, Madison, please tell them that you are the cracker in question. Please. Please tell them this. Please. Please. Because, oh my gosh. Not that I would be offended anyway. Like, if Madison wasn't white, the point still stands, honey, but let me see. I'm wondering, thanks internet asks, I'm wondering about your thoughts on invite-only teams versus ones with typical open application process. I'm thinking about doing invite-only for the founding members, but don't want to exclude others from potentially applying. If you create like because I did invite-only for my team, if your invite-only team is not diverse, then that says a lot in itself. So maybe doing some introspection as to why your invite only founding members would be exclusive in any fashion. Definitely reach out to the people who are on your team and ask them if they have any, like, extend the invite only to beyond yourself, but like rather you have, like, for instance, if you just happen to have more white friends, which sometimes can happen in these spaces, and those are the people, you know, like, meet your goals, talk to them about, like, hey, I want to have more people of color, can you recommend anyone to me? I want to have a representative space. Can you recommend anyone to me? But also recognize that, like, there's something wrong with having, if your invite only space is not diverse, there's a problem with that. And that requires some introspection. Please, not everyone exposing themselves as the saltines. No, I'm just kidding. Take your time, Brianna. Yes, we're lit, Lorenzo. Oh, brother. Alright, Madison. I think white people need to get more comfortable with, like, my hair's been this color. Like, I haven't dyed it in like 3 weeks. I need to dye like this part, but like I really like, you see this part, this gray part of my hair? I wish like more of my hair was that color. So that's what I'm trying to work towards. My hair is like just a mess of colors and I love it. I think, and I really appreciate your response. Thanks, internet. Like, I think more white people need to be comfortable with being labeled as having a non-diverse space without victimizing themselves. Because a lot of people think that, like, once you've been identified as a non-diverse space, like a discriminatory space, that you can never recover, and they're like, I'm not gonna try anymore. And that's like really harmful, because you can definitely recover, but what is recovery, right? Hey, Uni, no, Uni, Uni. Did I say it right? You told me uni, I believe. Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. If you are a person of color in chat right now, can you please drop your Twitch link in chat? You should be able to post links. So, take your time, Navi. If you are a person of color, please post your link in chat. But yeah, I think more white people need to be comfortable with just like not being trusted. And not being like, if you get labeled as a like discriminatory space, that doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to recover from it, but it does mean you might need to shift what recovery looks like. So recovery doesn't mean that you're forgiven, right? Recovery doesn't mean that, you know, people will suddenly recognize you as a diverse space. That's not what recovery means. Recovery means that you are working to be committed to diversity. You. Recovery is about you and what you're doing, and if you recover from having previously been labeled a discriminatory space, that means that you are doing the work. You are doing the work. That does not mean that you are forgiven. That doesn't mean that others forgive you. That doesn't mean others start to support you. That doesn't mean others trust you. That means that you are doing the work, and that is recovery from being a discriminatory space. Y'all, if you're looking at the links, you know, in chat, consider supporting these creators. You know, we have a lot of really, really cool creators in chat, and I would really, really appreciate if you want to find, you know, you can find community with each other. You can find creators that are in this space and are also, you know, just very awesome creators. Please check each other out and get to know each other. Please. Alright, I think we're getting to the point where there's no more questions coming in. I want to give people time to stop in and thank you for all the tweets, friends. I'm seeing all of them. I'm not gonna retweet them all. I'm sorry. There's a lot. Thank you to whoever from Team Transtopia decided to highlight the stream. I really appreciate that. I'm actually just gonna go through and say thank you to everyone who highlighted the stream on their page. Not the retweets, but like the people who made their own tweets. Not because I don't value the retweets, but because it's easier for me to see all the people who highlighted it on their own page. Thank you, Navi, for sharing my user voice. Thank you, Quirky, for sharing my stream. Thank you, Evie. Thank you, Siren Faye. Thank you, Moonchild. Thank you, Aikawi Princess. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you again from whoever did that on Team Transtopia. Thank you, Navi, for sharing my stream. Thank you, Quirky, again for sharing the stream. Thank you, Ja. I think that's it as far as in the time that I've started this stream. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the follows and stuff. Thank you, Emma, Imagination. Thank you, Daniel, for sharing, for your post-stream, tweet. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Bella, for the $50. That 101%. Oh my gosh. Hello? $101% of my goal. That is wild. That is wild. Thank you, SN Reloaded, for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Hey, Rodria. Y'all are so kind. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me. I've never been paid for this before, and it means it means a lot to me. Thank you. I don't want to come across as demanding, you know. I do have, for full transparency, I do have my viewer count on, because I was really anxious about this stream, and I was anxious about getting hate rated doing this stream, so I do have my viewer count on. I appreciate everyone who's come here. I appreciate everyone who's hanging out with me today and really helping to boost this stream so that people can ask their questions and get answers to their questions. I really, really hope that y'all are able to support me beyond this, beyond, I don't want to just get supported when I'm doing these talks. I want to get supported when I'm having fun and when I'm just having a good time and I'm doing lighthearted things like just playing Stardew and stuff like that. So it's not to say like if you guys don't come tomorrow I'm gonna be upset or anything like that. I just hope that the same support that I saw today, I'm able to get in my other streams. That's Lupin. Nike is also there. I have 4 cats. Yeah. Hi, Lupin. Hi, Nike. Hi, Chunky Boy. So, yeah. Gray, if you'd like to, like, DM me, like, just any type of, if you want to kind of work to articulate it through my DMs, that's also fine. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate all your kind words and all your encouragement. C asks, for stream teams, do you think personally messaging folks via DM or emailing them to be founding members is better? I don't think there's anything wrong with posting, like, to answer the second part, I don't think there's anything wrong with apologizing, because even if it's like half-assed, right, like it still sets the precedent that like an apology kind of implies that something was done wrong. So I think that still it's important to like post an apology. That's my personal opinion. Some people might not agree, but I personally like when people post the apology. Okay, Moonchild, have a great night. I personally like when people post apologies and stuff. What I will say is, like, if you're gonna post an apology, just post the apology. Just say sorry. Like, we don't need to know why you didn't have a diverse stream team. We don't need to know, just say sorry, and if you want to, say what you're doing to resolve what you did wrong, but like, we don't need to know why it happened. We know why it happened, because you're not diverse. We don't care. You know what I'm saying? That's an excuse, so don't do that. As far as personally messaging folks or emailing them, me personally, like, if someone emailed me like, hey, I would really like you to be part of my stream team, and like, I really hold your values, like, as very important and valuable and stuff like that, then I would feel good about that. Not everybody will. So again, recognizing that there's a chance that people will not be positively responsive to what you say. They might accuse you of doing things like, pandering or things like that, and you just have to accept that as a potential consequence. Yeah, I'm also hey Rosie. I'm also very appreciative of the people who have shared their viewpoints so far. It means a lot to me. So thank you for sharing your viewpoints as well. And it's all good, Gray. Like, I like to in therapy. Like, I have a lot of clients. I am a therapist, by the way. I have a lot of clients who like struggle a lot with articulation. I just tell them like, just say it. Like, if I read your message and it's kind of confusing or whatever, like who cares? Words are confusing, thoughts are confusing. Like that just means that I'm helping them learn to one, I'm helping them learn to articulate their thoughts and feel safe doing that. But two, I'm learning how to understand them and I like to do that. So I'm all for it. Like if anyone ever needs to like just process how to articulate things, my DMs are open. No, I agree with you no matter what. Madison is so funny because I'll tweet something and like it's so funny watching Madison. Like it's just funny. It's just funny. I'm not gonna get into too many details. Thank you so much, Last Lost Girl. Thank you so much, Irene, for posting my goal too. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the follow as well. Hey, Ain. Yeah, we're kind of at the end. For the most part, the questions have kind of stopped. I think a lot of the people. I really appreciate those of you who came here with questions prepared. I know we don't all have the spoons for that, and I fully recognize that. But for those of you who came here with your questions prepared, I really, really, really appreciate that. Um, Gray Meadows, do you mind if I kind of read this out loud and tell you what my interpretation of it is, or would you rather talk like privately? Okay. Yeah, the VOD will be up. The VOD will be up. So this is Gray Meadows question. I was wondering what you would recommend to members of a stream team when the values of some other members of that team go against your values and committing to diversity in general. Like being stuck between wanting to be firm with your beliefs but not leave the other folks who were hurt behind. So are you saying like if you were to leave the stream, like are you talking about leaving the stream team? Are you talking about like if it's okay to leave a stream team that's not committed to diversity? Hello, Amethyst Moon. Thank you for the quiet hello. Yeah, my voice is gonna be done for tomorrow. And thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I would definitely like for there to be a part 2 to this conversation. Maybe talking to people who have tried out some of the stuff that we talked about today and see if it works. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about playing some games with my friends, but I'm also like a little bit worried because I know that's not what people came here for. Thank you for the hydrate, Quirky. Not sound like Janet even more, please. T redeem? You want me to add a T redemption? shout out to my dad. My dad doesn't have Twitch, so he's not ever gonna hear this. But shout out to my dad for making me read Roots when I was like 9 years old. I would not be the person though. I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for my dad making me read Roots when I was like 9 years old. Yeah, I wouldn't be here today educating people in this space if it wasn't for my dad. So shout out to you, Dad. I know you don't use Twitch, but shout out to you. We are playing we'll probably play Stardew tomorrow. We'll probably play Stardew tomorrow. But we'll see. Yeah, to answer that, Gray, I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with people leaving the team, right? If you recognize that like members of the team don't hold the same values as you and you leave the team behind, I think that's fine. I can see where your concern would be about leaving, like, for instance, if your team wasn't like BIPOC diverse or people were holding like anti-BIPOC like beliefs and you didn't want to leave the BIPOC members on that team behind. I can understand where you might feel kind of bad, but I think the team should suffer. And I know that sounds very mean, but like, I honestly, it is not enough for me to sit here and take this how you want. If you think I'm mean because of this, then so be it. I do not think that it's enough for teams to just learn to be diverse. If you are not a diverse team, just know that me as a person, I want you to suffer for a bit. I do. And that's just me being 100% honest, because at the end of the day, if you're directly harming people in some aspect, you need to suffer. And if that means that for a while people just don't trust you, then suffer. If that means that your team gets shut down, then suffer. And I know that's mean, but I don't care. Like, I said what I said. Some of these teams, like, at this point in time, if you're continuing to do this, like, it's intentional and it's not gonna stop until you suffer in some capacity. So leaving the team and forcing them to pick up the pieces and pick up the crumbs, like, yeah, I'm sorry for the POC that decided to stay on that team, but child, they gotta learn their lesson somehow. And if you stay on the team and all of that stuff, then maybe they won't learn. But if you're so uncomfortable that you're like, I want to leave, just leave. And again, I know that sounds mean, but like, at this point, and I've talked about how jaded I feel. Like, yes, I'm hosting this space. Yes, I'm taking the time to educate y'all. But at the same time, that's not me saying that you don't deserve any negative consequences. Like, you absolutely deserve, if you are one of the teams that I've been talking about, that we've been talking about today, you do deserve negative consequences. I want you to know that. Because the same way, again, that you, in making your team, made people of color experience harm, you need to experience some negative consequence. And that's not to say you deserve to be like harmed physically or sent like negative messages or nothing like that, but you do need to experience a negative consequence. And that's the problem, is that not enough of these people are experiencing negative consequences, and y'all need to. Like, whether that mean that you're labeled a certain way, even if it's temporary, if it's not temporary, like, the only way to stop people from continuing to do this is for them to experience negative consequences. And I think the most powerful one is having the stream team shut down. And I think more stream teams need to be shut down. I do. I think if more of the stream teams that weren't diverse in the first place, or didn't at least like catch it right away, you need to experience something negative. Yeah, exactly what Kami said. Also, like, it would be nice if, like, one of the things to just be like transparent with y'all, one of the things that I was worried about hosting this space is that I am often perceived as like this very harsh person. Hello? Anyway, I am, don't click that link please. I am often perceived as like this very harsh person. And one of the things that I was worried about is that in me being candid and me being harsh by choice, I am being harsh by choice. I'm not just being perceived as harsh, but I am being harsh by choice. I was worried about hosting a space because I knew like a lot of people are not gonna come here with the understanding that although I'm being harsh, I'm doing it with intent to help and to help people understand. I need to be harsh because you were why should I consider how you feel about me saying you suck? And I'm very clearly saying that you suck if you're the people that we're talking about. Some of y'all that we're talking about today are my friends, but guess what, bestie? You suck. You messed up. Are you still my friend? Do I still care about you? Absolutely. But you suck. And you need to hear that. You suck. Do better. But sometimes, like, people come into this space like, you know, I want to be spoon fed this, and I want to hear kindness, and I want to please be soft with me. Oh, thank you, Gray Meadows, for $35. Not the 105%. Y'all, come on, come on. But my point is, like, be prepared to hear that, please. Like, be prepared to hear that. Because, again, the same way that you didn't consider me when you didn't create a diverse team, you didn't consider how that was gonna harm me. It's not really all that important for me to think about how I'm harming you or how I might be harming you or whatever. Like, I'm not really one for like I'm not really one for being like super mean, at least like right off the bat. Like off rip, I'm not gonna be like mean to you. But if you've been taught and told time and time again and you still not getting it, child, the switch is flipping and I'm gonna start being mean. And it is calming. Discomfort is a part of unlearning harmful ideas. Because again, think about the discomfort that you cause people in having these, like having this ideology. Think about the discomfort that you caused, and think about the discomfort that you contributed to, like the systemic, discomfort that you contributed to. Hey, Ravenheart. If your group of founders is almost all white and then the people you accept are almost all white, that is a pretty glaring issue, and more than just the people who created the team are responsible. And we definitely had a conversation about that earlier. Again, I want the people who are joining these all white stream teams to really think about, like, the white people who are joining these majority white stream teams. I want y'all to think about what that says, and I want you to take responsibility as well. Lorenzo! Thank you so much for $25. 907%, please. Welcome in. Is it Alex? Can you italics? Like italics? No? Yes? Let me wait. Thank you, everyone. We started this stream at 50%, friends. 50% of my $1,000 goal. And we are at 107%. 3 hours into this stream. Like, that is so big. My brother's FaceTiming me. I'll call him back. Oh, no, I'll answer right now. Hold on. Hey, I'm streaming. You wanna say hi to stream? Why not? I'm gonna show you. Hold on. Say hi to everyone. This is my brother. Alright, I'll talk to you soon. Okay, love you. Bye. He said, I don't know about all that. Please. My brother is like, he's always like, why do you care about, like, he's very like, he's very different than me. Why do you care about doing this type of stuff? Like, I like it. Thank you, my phone case. I just changed it today. Shania! Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you so much. Welcome in, Parker, Dabini, Doc Brennan, Womp Thwomp. Is it Jevy or Heavy? Hey, Shania. Hey, lovely Siren. Kate, I know you're already here. Welcome in, Jude Masquerade, Jessie Cat. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in, Terra XD. We're hosting a conversation about how to commit to diversity. So welcome in. I still need to play Bear and Breakfast. I need to play that. I'm gonna play it soon. Welcome in, Josie. Yeah, the VOD will be up. We're kind of at the end now. Thank you for the host. We're kind of at the end now. I was thinking about shout out to Mix, Jade Moon, Irene for voicing that they would like for me to decompress with some video games, so we might do that. The problem is that I'm in the mood for some Dead by Daylight, and I know a lot of y'all are scared. I haven't played Stray yet, but I'm going to play Stray. And thank you for posting my Ko-fi. Let me see. I know Madison's here. Who else is here? Thank you, Josie, for the follow. I know, I'm gonna play it. I have it. I have the dating sim. I have it. Thank you. Is it Soxy? Thank you for the follow. Yeah, have you played Cat Cafe Manager, Shania? It is always rough. Alright, Kami. Good luck on your final reports. Like, I was watching someone play or talk about the, what is it called? Bear and Breakfast? Is that what it is? I was watching someone talk about it, and I was like, that sounds like Cat Cafe Manager, but with bears. Which is, like, not bad, but... Again, I think tomorrow is gonna be probably Stardew, but I haven't really decided for sure. Eventually, I'm gonna get back into Animal Crossing, but I'm probably gonna do a soft reset on my Dreamy Island. I have 2 islands, so I'm probably gonna do a soft reset on my Dreamy Island. But good time zone to anyone who has to take off. Please don't feel like you have to stick around. I don't think I introduced myself. Thank you so much for the $10 tip. I don't know who it was, but thank you 108%. But yeah, my name is Chi Chi. I'm a cozy variety streamer and a social justice advocate. Today we were having a conversation on how to help commit to diversity as a streamer, mostly in the context of stream teams, but we kind of took it beyond that. We talked a lot about, you know, the consequences of not being a diverse stream team. People were able to ask questions, and of course, if anyone still has questions, that's fine. But it's been a while. We just been kind of hanging out for like the past 30 minutes. Not really too many questions left. But if you have questions about how to commit to diversity, this is the time to ask. One thing I will say is that I am a member of Cloud Cabin, and Cloud Cabin is the founders were majority white, and we were able to work to really flesh out what it looks like committing to diversity as within Cloud Cabin. So again, like, this is something I've experienced. This is something that I've seen be resolved, and be fixed, and work to be fixed, and that's important as well to recognize. So I've experienced this, you know. I have my personal thoughts on it, and then we were able to hear the thoughts of other people as well. So very good conversation. The VOD will be left up, and yeah, it's been great. Thank you so much, SN Reloaded. I'm texting some of my friends now. We're probably gonna play some DVDs, so maybe I'll just ping the Discord. Thank you to all of our new friends in the Discord as well. Thank you for the lurk. I appreciate it. And take your time, Taro. Not Madison saying, I don't know if this counts, but if my dogs hang off my bed, someone will gobble them in the... What do you be talking about? Like, I know what that's in response to, but, like, really, what do you be talking about? Alright, let's see. If not, then, like, I don't know, maybe I'll play something else. I'm so excited and just so grateful that all of you supported me so much. Like, I knew that, of course, people were gonna support me because like, a lot of you have been supporting my Twitter threads and all of that stuff. Like, I'm still very shocked. I'm still very, like, I'm very grateful, and I appreciate you all, and it just means a lot to me that this was supported in this way. I hope that... Welcome in, Jude Masquerade. I hope that I was able to provide a space that gave y'all what y'all needed. In some ways, this space was very cathartic for me, and I was able to learn to process a lot of how I felt, and I was also able to learn that how I communicate is not really the issue, because a lot of you came here and I communicate the same way I always do, and everyone was able to really hear me out. So I know that like it also helped me recognize that I'm not a problem, and I'm a person that's worthy of support and worthy of kindness, and that I'm not doing things wrong. So it was very positive for me to host this space. So I did have personal gains as well, but I hope that others were able to gain what they wanted and what they needed from this space. um I made a lot of jokes about, being harsh and stuff like that. I want you to know that if you are one of the people who is being, talked about in this space, and that you are one of the people who founded a majority or all white stream team, or you felt, that this applied to you, do some introspection. If you'd like to cycle and circle back to this VOD and circle back to me, I am explicitly naming myself as a resource. If you are interested in learning more, if you want to have a private conversation, if you want to be educated, again, we'll have to like work out a schedule, of course, but if you're interested in that type of thing, I am more than open. If you are watching this VOD later and you're like, you know, I want to know more and stuff like that, you can reach out to me on Twitter, you can reach out to me on Twitch, you can reach out to me on Discord. um Again, give me time to get back to you, but I am directly naming myself and very clearly and explicitly naming myself as a resource for people who want to commit to diversity. If you'd like to pay me for my time, that's always going to be appreciated. So many of you did pay me for my time today, and it was absolutely wild. Like, again, I've never had this much support financially in like one day before, and it's very nice to see. A little scary, because in some ways it might feel like I have to do this to kind of get the funds that I kind of need right now, but that's okay. I'm definitely committed to hosting a space that is like this in some capacity at least once a month, and we can work that out and see what the next topic will be. I love just chatting streams. I love talking to y'all. For the next one, for sure, I'll come more prepared and I'll give y'all more notice so that you can really come up with your questions. I would also like to definitely circle back to this, host another space similar to this and talk about, for the people who learned something today, how are you able to use them? What have you seen as a result of using the advice that you gained from this space today? For the POC who watch this stream, who are watching now, who watch in the future, just know that you are loved and that you are respected, and that I'm hosting this space for you, so that you can feel safe on Twitch. And that, I hope that we're able to learn to love each other and learn to navigate and shake the table in spaces where maybe we're not always respected the way that we want to be, but we can demand that, and we have every right to do that. There's nothing that says that you have to create your own space, and that you have to do all the work, or else you're never gonna find a space that works for you. I have found it. I have created and kind of helped shift the narrative in spaces that I exist in, and it's possible. And if you like to do that, don't let anyone discourage you from doing that. You're not wrong for wanting to help people commit to diversity. um Hopefully you get paid for it. We always love when people get paid to do stuff like this, but if it's what you like to do, then it's what you like to do. Just like you shouldn't let anyone guilt you into doing it, don't let anyone guilt you out of doing it. I love all of you. I'm not ending stream, but I'm ending this portion. This will be highlighted as its own VOD or own highlight video. And I hope you enjoy. It's also going to be posted on YouTube and all that stuff. So thank you again to everyone who was able to contribute.